growing and important part of our work is to actually prevent child abandonment from happening in the first place. So a child that's left alone, hopefully we can find a place for them in a children's village, but there are many vulnerable families where there is a risk of the children becoming abandoned. Perhaps that family might be a single parent family that's quite poverty stricken. It might be a grandparent headed family where the parents have died through HIV/AIDS. Or it might even be a child-headed family, a 13-year-old child raising younger brothers and sisters, which is really hard to imagine, but that is actually the situation for many of the children that we're supporting around the world. So the best thing that we can do is try and support that family, strengthen it, and hopefully that in time it will become self-sufficient. So we give a holistic range of care from microloans, vocational training, counselling, lots of different support to try and keep that family on the straight and narrow. And also because we are in lots of countries in the world, and because we have lots of local staff, and because we have the infrastructure and the experience of caring for children in all sorts of circumstances, we're well placed to help in the aftermath of conflict and natural disaster. So Haiti is just one such example. Straight after the earthquake, we've got two villages you can see on the map here. The closest one is Santé Children's Village near Port-au-Prince. That village has massively expanded in the aftermath. You can see all of these in the background here, these little temporary sheltered housing. So we've now got 3 times the number of children living in that village. And we're also running community food centres, so we're providing a hot meal to thousands of children in the vicinity of Port-au-Prince. And this is just to show the scope or the scale, I suppose, of our work. We've been going for 60 years, so we were founded in the aftermath of the Second World War, and we're now in 124 countries. So every day we're getting 78,000 children out of bed, putting them through school and putting them to bed again at night. And we're helping a further million through our various community programmes. And I just want to end by just introducing Haddie, who's to the right of the picture. Haddie was about the age of this little girl here when she lost her parents. She was taken into the children's village in Bakate in the Gambia, and she was given a mother, and she was given siblings, and she grew up and she was part of a family. She went to the local school, the local SOS school. She was then sponsored. She was very bright, she was very academic, she was sponsored to do further education, and she actually came to the UK and did a business course, and then she went back to the Gambia. And she started her career, but she was poached back by SOS, and she's now the village director of the children's village in which she grew up. She has married, she's got a family of her own, but she lives in the children's village, and she's responsible for, I think, 15 SOS mothers and 150 or so children grown in that village. So that just shows you what a difference that SOS children can make to the lives of children all around the world. So thank you very much. I'll pass back to Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. Very much indeed. Right then. How do we do? I've embarrassed my team. I've taken the mickey out of my own daughter. I've crept to the bosses. What else may I do to cheapen this insights experience for you, you may ask? Well, at this stage, I'm going to kindly ask for some audience participation, I'm afraid, just to keep you awake for the last quarter. You may or may not have seen the show The Apprentice, if you're followed, which is a fallout show on BBC Two, shown straight after Lord Sugar has publicly humiliated one of his wannabe employees. On that show, they use a red or green card system to decide whether Lord Sugar made the right decision or not in hiring or firing that particular employee. We're going to use a similar audience participation process here, if you don't mind, where we're going to give out some facts about the Green World tours that were created, and from those facts you need to make a decision whether you thought they were a hit or a miss. Basically, if you thought the tour ran, just hold up the hit, and if you didn't think it was successful, hold up the miss, because unfortunately they weren't all hits. Okay, everyone got a car? Good, excellent. Alright, here we go then. Manila. Manila was the very, very first charity Green World Tour on Oriana last November. The idea was to take a load of early Christmas presents to the kids there as part of the tour costing. This was really, really hard work to sell on board because it was something new, unknown, and a little bit different to both the passengers and the crew. We were charging £45 a head for this tour, which included a donation of a gift, and we had to get a minimum of 20 passengers on board on the tour. What do you think? Do you think this was a hit or a miss? Caroline, your assistance here? Oh, no, sorry. No, actually, I don't need your assistance. Only one miss up there. It was, in fact, a hit. Well done, everybody, bar one. It was a resounding hit. We had 28 passengers on tour, including Edwina Curry, who said it was brilliant. Once I had a first taste of this positive feedback, I was hungry for more. Maybe it was the fact that it was a selfish feeling that I felt that I'd helped some children and made a difference to their day, but it fueled the fire for me to continue. So continue we did. We continued with returning to the Manila Artemis SOS Children's Village in Manila again on the 24th of February 2011. I wanted to run this tour again. Were the passengers of Artemis going to be just as benevolent? What do you think? Do you think it was a hit or a miss? Cards in the air, please. Oh dear, it's a bit of an exercise, isn't it? What do you think? Just green, just green. Okay, it was just a hit. Yeah, it was a hit, yeah, we only just, but we managed to make it. So because of some of the kids there receiving their Christmas presents from us. And some from having passports. Okay, on to Cape Town now. The Peninsula School Feeding Project in Cape Town. Now this was the only Green World Tour that was actually featured in the brochure. Our guests went to the Peninsula School Feeding Association, which is where they'll be able to get the opportunity to prepare the food for the kids there and also serve them as they have their lunch. It's a non-profit making organisation established in 1958 when the previous government discontinued, sadly, the school feeding there. So it's presently feeding 155,000 children in more than 600 schools. This one cost £59. This was for Artemis on their world cruise. £38 of that is a donation, which is the cost of feeding one child for a year. £38 costing one child feeding a year. What do you think? Do you think this was a hit or a miss? It was mostly hits there, and yep, you're right. Around the back, it was a hit. Yeah, this particular tour actually was the catalyst of the Green World Tour's project. It was one of the very first one we created when I travelled out to South Africa at the beginning of 2010 to try and find new products. Just to give a bit of feedback on that particular tour, I'm going to read a quote from our tour manager on board who just let us know how it went on the day. We had 9 passengers plus myself who went to the Parkwood School. This is from Marion, our tour manager. We had collected many gifts and donations from passengers and departments on board, which included the following. Food, we had rice, flour, kidney beans, tin fruit, custard and milk. From the kitchen department, serving dishes, trays, cutlery, some brand new gym equipment, gym clothing and equipment. 3 boxes were donated by the onboard spa, pens, pencils, paints, notebooks collected from the passengers and crew members as well, and board games donated from the officers' wardroom, and one passenger even donated a rolled up piano, which I'm guessing is that, but piano, quite random, but there you go. I'm sure they're thankful for it. Okay, so we met with the project teacher, Pamela, and the headmaster, Mr. Phillips, who talked to us about the project and the school in general. At this point, a cheque was presented over from ourselves, from the donation on board, and also there were members of the Rotary Club which were on the tour, which handed over a donation of 3,000 South African rand, which is about £300, which they'd raised on board at the Rotary Club meeting on board, which was very, very kind of them. We went also then into the canteen, which had been built by the project, where the passengers could help serve the meals for the kids there and interact with the children. The school has 490 pupils, and they can afford to feed approximately half of them a day. So that's not very good, is it? After the lunch service, we were split into twos and went to the classroom to speak with the passengers and talk to the children. The passengers very much enjoyed the experience. They felt it was enjoyable and worthwhile, and several of them were aiming to keep in touch with Pamela and raise further funds once they get home again, thereby continuing to support this very worthwhile project. So that one went down well. Okay, on to Durban now. SOS Children's Village in Durban. This one was for Queen Mary II, costing $60, a donation again of $38. Before voting on this one, please consider that we had 1,600 guests disembarking and embarking in Cape Town just a few days before the Durban call and this tour. And at this point we only had 4 passengers booked, and we had to have a minimum of 30 to run this tour. The majority of guests had already pre-booked their tours, and the onboard team only had a few days to try and sell this particular tour on top of the rest of the workload they had. So what do you think? A hit or a miss on that evidence? Wow, I didn't convince you, did you? Everyone's saying hit just about. All right. Yeah, it was a hit. It was just a hit, so we only had 13 passengers in the end, so I had to go to our operator, cap in hand, and ask them very, very kindly to run it for us with a smaller bus, which they did, and thankfully the guests really, really enjoyed it, so that was a positive. Okay, on to Phuket now. Phuket Sunshine Village. This is a foundation whose main objectives are to protect the children from abuse and provide them with support and help. During the visit, the passengers would have a tour of the facilities and interact and teach the kids if they wanted to play with the children, as well as assisting serving with their lunch if they so desired. This one was costing £30. £11 of that was going towards gifts for the children. What do you think? Do you think it was a hit or a miss? Mostly hits there. Yep, well done. It was a hit. We had 13 passengers on the tour. Sorry, 8 passengers, but they also delivered loads of goodies and treats from the for the kids from on board as well. So